love is often misunderstood. Many believe it starts the moment someone enters their life, but the truth is far deeper. Real love doesn't begin with someone else. It begins within you. It's not about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right version of yourself. Only after understanding your own heart, healing your wounds, and embracing your worth can love truly flourish. This isn't about rushing into romance or seeking validation. It's about cultivating a foundation so strong that love feels effortless, natural, and lasting. Healing your emotional wounds is the cornerstone of real love. It's easy to think that love begins when someone new enters your life, but in reality, the quality of love you experience is a reflection of how well you've tended to your inner self. Past heartbreak, betrayals, and disappointments leave marks on the heart, and if those wounds remain unhealed, they create patterns that repeat in relationships. You might find yourself attracting the same type of unhealthy connections, repeating familiar pain, or even sabotaging opportunities for deep, meaningful love. Healing is not about forgetting or pretending that the pain didn't exist. It's about acknowledging your experiences, accepting the lessons they bring, and gently releasing the emotional burden you've been carrying. When you face your past honestly, you reclaim your power and no longer allow old hurts to dictate your present or future. It's about transforming pain into wisdom, understanding that every scar is a testament to your resilience and growth. Real love requires this clarity because love cannot thrive in fear, resentment, or unresolved sorrow. When you heal, you develop emotional maturity that allows you to approach relationships with a calm, grounded energy instead of seeking someone to fill a void. Healing also means learning to forgive, not necessarily for the sake of those who hurt you, but for yourself, so that you can let go of anger and bitterness that weigh you down. This process gives you the freedom to enter relationships from a place of wholeness rather than dependency. It allows you to distinguish between genuine love and the fleeting need for validation or reassurance. Furthermore, healing encourages self-compassion. You begin to treat yourself with the same kindness and patience that you would offer a loved one, recognizing that your emotional needs matter and that your feelings are valid. By nurturing yourself in this way, you set a standard for how others should treat you, naturally attracting love that mirrors this respect and care. Without healing, love is often clouded by insecurity, fear, or the desire to fix someone else as a way to soothe your own wounds. When you commit to your healing journey, you develop an inner strength and emotional intelligence that not only enhances your capacity to give love, but also allows you to receive it fully. Real love starts after this because it cannot coexist with unresolved pain. It requires a heart that has learned, grown, and emerged stronger. Once you heal, you are no longer searching for someone to complete you, but rather you are ready to share your completeness with someone who adds value to your already flourishing life. Knowing your worth is the gateway to real love, and it begins with recognizing that you are inherently valuable, complete, and deserving of respect and care. Many people enter relationships seeking validation, approval, or a sense of belonging, often overlooking their own needs or compromising their values in the process. True love, however, does not require you to diminish yourself or settle for less than you deserve. When you know your worth, you create a standard for how others should treat you, and you refuse to accept anything that falls below that standard. This awareness transforms the way you approach relationships, shifting your focus from seeking someone to fill a void to finding a partner who complements your already full life. Knowing your worth also means understanding your strengths, your boundaries, and your unique qualities, and embracing them without apology. It's about loving yourself enough to walk away from situations or people that drain your energy, disrespect your feelings, or fail to appreciate the person you are. When you internalize your value, you naturally attract people who mirror that respect and admiration, creating a healthy dynamic built on mutual care rather than dependency or insecurity. Additionally, knowing your worth allows you to approach love with confidence rather than fear. You no longer chase relationships out of desperation or cling to connections that do not serve your growth. Instead, you engage with authenticity, showing up as your true self and inviting others to do the same. This clarity prevents toxic patterns such as tolerating manipulation, jealousy, or neglect, because you understand that you deserve love that is consistent, nurturing, and uplifting. Understanding your worth also empowers you to make intentional choices, whether that means investing in relationships that bring joy or stepping away from those that cause harm. It encourages self-respect in both words and actions, from communicating openly to prioritizing your emotional needs. When you fully embrace your value, you stop seeking validation externally and begin to trust your own judgment. Real love begins here because it is no longer a compromise, a bargain, or a transaction. It is a conscious, mutual exchange between two whole individuals. By knowing your worth, you set the foundation for love that is genuine, fulfilling, and resilient, a love that nourishes rather than depletes, a love that inspires growth rather than fear, and a love that honors both your individuality and your desire to connect deeply. Real love does not start until you recognize that you are already enough, exactly as you are. Setting healthy boundaries is essential for cultivating real love, because love cannot flourish where there is confusion, compromise of values, or emotional neglect. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are the lines that define your self-respect, protect your energy, and clarify what is acceptable in your relationships. Many people struggle in love because they fear asserting themselves, worrying that saying no or expressing their needs will push others away. However, the truth is that healthy boundaries attract the right people and repel those who do not honor or respect you. When you clearly communicate your limits, you create a safe and nurturing environment for love to grow. Boundaries are about understanding your worth, recognizing your emotional and mental capacity, and refusing to tolerate behaviors that drain, disrespect, or diminish you. They are about prioritizing your well-being and teaching others how to treat you without manipulation or compromise. Setting boundaries also requires self-awareness and honesty. It means knowing what triggers you, what makes you uncomfortable, and what aligns with your values, and being willing to stand firm even when it feels uncomfortable. This is not selfishness, it is self-respect, and it is one of the strongest foundations for meaningful relationships. Boundaries also prevent resentment from building up. When you allow behaviors that violate your limits, frustration and anger can silently grow, eventually eroding trust and intimacy. By establishing boundaries early, you create clarity and consistency, allowing relationships to develop based on mutual understanding and respect. Furthermore, healthy boundaries teach emotional independence. You are not responsible for fixing, managing, or absorbing someone else's emotions, and you cannot expect them to be responsible for yours. Each person maintains their own emotional space while contributing to a shared connection that feels safe and balanced. Love that begins after boundaries are established is rooted in authenticity. It is not needy, desperate, or conditional. It is a connection between two people who understand and respect each other's individuality. When you set healthy boundaries, you also model the type of love you wish to receive, one that is respectful, nurturing, and conscious. This ensures that the relationships you invest in are not draining or chaotic, but empowering and fulfilling. Real love cannot exist in a space where your boundaries are unclear or constantly violated. By learning to protect your emotional, mental, and physical space while remaining open to connection, you create the perfect foundation for a love that is deep, steady, and genuine. This is why real love starts after you commit to setting boundaries that honor both yourself and the people who enter your life. Being fully present with yourself is a transformative step toward real love because it allows you to cultivate a deep connection with your own mind, heart, and soul. Many people rush into relationships seeking fulfillment externally without ever taking the time to truly understand themselves. This often leads to dependency, confusion, and relationships that feel incomplete or unbalanced. When you learn to be fully present with yourself, You embrace solitude not as loneliness, but as an opportunity to discover your passions, understand your emotions, and align with your true values. It is in these quiet, introspective moments that you gain clarity about what you genuinely want in life and in love. Being present with yourself also means accepting who you are fully, including your flaws, fears, and insecurities, without judgment. You stop running from your emotions or masking your true feelings to fit someone else's expectations. This self-awareness fosters emotional maturity, enabling you to enter relationships with confidence, honesty, and authenticity. When you enjoy your own company, you no longer feel the pressure to seek validation or completeness from someone else. Instead, you bring a sense of wholeness into your connections, which naturally attracts partners who are equally grounded and self-aware. Being present also teaches mindfulness in love. You learn to notice your thoughts, feelings, and patterns without getting lost in them, allowing you to respond to situations calmly rather than react impulsively. This awareness prevents unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings, creating a relationship environment that is balanced, nurturing, and conscious. Moreover, when you are fully present with yourself, you cultivate patience. Patience with your personal growth, patience with the process of finding love, and patience with others. You recognize that rushing into relationships or forcing connections out of fear or longing only leads to temporary satisfaction rather than lasting fulfillment. This practice also encourages gratitude as you begin to appreciate your journey, your growth, and the lessons that life presents along the way. By understanding and embracing yourself fully, you set a strong foundation for a love that complements rather than completes you. Real love starts after this because it cannot thrive when you are disconnected from your own needs, desires, or emotions. When you are fully present with yourself, you step into relationships from a place of empowerment, self-respect, and clarity, inviting love that is genuine, conscious, and deeply rewarding. It is only when you are comfortable, confident, and complete in your own presence that real love has the room and the strength to flourish naturally. Letting go of expectations is a pivotal step toward real love because expectations often create invisible barriers between yourself and the authentic connection you desire. Many people enter relationships carrying preconceived ideas about how others should act, what love should look like, or how their partner should make them feel. While it is natural to have standards, rigid expectations can lead to disappointment, frustration, and disconnection, as no one can perfectly align with another person's ideals at all times. Letting go of these unrealistic standards does not mean lowering your worth or accepting mistreatment. Rather, it means embracing love as it is in its raw, imperfect, and authentic form. When you release expectations, you allow people to show up as they truly are rather than as you imagine them to be. This creates space for genuine connection, where love is based on reality rather than fantasy. It also frees you from the constant need to control outcomes, reducing anxiety, resentment, and emotional fatigue. Expectations often stem from fear, the fear of being hurt, abandoned, or disappointed. But when you let go of them, you step into love with openness and trust. You begin to appreciate the little things, the spontaneous gestures, and the unique ways people express care rather than constantly comparing reality to a rigid checklist. Letting go also encourages flexibility and adaptability in relationships. Life is unpredictable and love is fluid. Those who cling tightly to expectations are often unprepared for growth, change, or challenges. By releasing these constraints, you develop resilience and the ability to navigate relationships with patience and understanding. Furthermore, letting go of expectations allows you to focus on your own growth and joy rather than fixating on how others should behave or respond. This self-focus makes you a more grounded and emotionally available partner, someone who can give love freely without pressure or conditions. It also prevents codependency, as you no longer rely on someone else to fulfill your sense of happiness or worth. Real love begins after this because it cannot thrive under the weight of rigid assumptions or control. When you approach love without expectation, you are open to experiencing it in its fullest form, appreciating people for who they truly are and responding with patience and authenticity. Letting go is not passive, it is an active choice to trust life, honor yourself, and allow love to grow naturally. It is only when you release the heavy burden of expectation that love can arrive unconditionally, freely, and beautifully, giving you the connection you have always longed for without the pressure or limitations that expectations impose. Opening your heart without fear is the ultimate step toward experiencing real love, because love cannot exist fully when it is guarded, hesitant, or restricted by past pain. Many people approach relationships with caution, protecting themselves from potential hurt by keeping walls around their emotions. While these walls may feel like safety, they also prevent genuine connection, intimacy, and the profound joy that comes from being truly seen. Opening your heart requires courage. The courage to be vulnerable, to express your feelings honestly, and to trust that love can be nurturing rather than destructive. It is about letting go of the need for control and allowing yourself to experience emotions fully, without judgment or self-criticism. When you open your heart without fear, you embrace the reality that love involves risk, but that risk is worth the reward of deep, meaningful connection. This process begins with self-trust and self-compassion. You learn to believe in your ability to handle disappointment, heartbreak, or rejection without losing your sense of self. By cultivating this inner strength, you can give love freely without clinging or trying to manipulate outcomes, creating a relationship dynamic that is honest, balanced, and authentic. Opening your heart also means letting go of past experiences that have left you wary or hesitant. You release the burdens of betrayal, neglect, or abandonment, and you approach each new connection with a clean slate, ready to receive and give love in its purest form. It is an act of faith in life, in people, and in your own capacity to connect deeply. When fear is removed from the equation, love becomes expansive rather than limited. You are no longer preoccupied with what might go wrong or whether someone will meet your expectations. Instead, you focus on the present moment, fully appreciating the beauty of intimacy, trust, and shared experiences. Vulnerability becomes strength, and openness becomes a magnet for people who value honesty, empathy, and emotional authenticity. Real love starts after this because love cannot flourish in a heart weighed down by doubt, fear, or past trauma. Only when you allow yourself to be seen completely, without hiding parts of who you are, can you create a bond that is profound, enduring, and transformative. By opening your heart without fear, you invite love that is not conditional or superficial, but deep, genuine, and life-affirming, giving you the opportunity to experience the full richness and beauty of human connection. Real love is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you cultivate within yourself. It begins with healing your emotional wounds, knowing your worth, setting healthy boundaries, being fully present with yourself, letting go of expectations, and opening your heart without fear. Each of these steps builds a foundation of self-awareness, emotional strength, and authenticity, preparing you to receive and give love in its truest form. Real love does not arrive through desperation, manipulation, or dependency. It arrives when you are whole, grounded, and aligned with your values. By committing to this journey, you create space for a connection that is honest, nurturing, and deeply fulfilling. Love that begins after these steps is not fleeting or conditional. It is enduring, empowering, and transformative. Remember, the most profound relationships start not when you find someone, but when you find yourself and allow the fullness of who you are to shine freely. Real love starts here, within you, and radiates outward into every connection you create.